I want to talk to you about estimated tax payments, and the big question is who pays them? So here's an overview I want you to pay attention to. So what is an estimated tax payment to start with? Let's really define this concept. In its simplest terms, an estimated tax payment is the amount of taxes you estimate you will owe for the upcoming tax year. So we're speaking about federal taxes, but also state taxes. So while you can pay the total amount of taxes you owe all at once, many self-employed business owners opt to estimate what they will owe and divide it into 4 equal quarterly payments that can be made throughout the year. So ultimately, the ball is in your court. It really depends on your budget and everything else, okay? So if you want to pay the tax man all at once instead of per quarter, you have the option, not a problem. But you need to make payments according to the IRS schedule, which we'll actually talk about in today's conversation. So picking a random date on the calendar to complete a payment is not an option. So when we talk about estimated tax payments, you need to understand that it's one of those things where you have to stick to a schedule. So estimated tax is really a quarterly payment of taxes for the year based on the filer's reported income for the period. And most of those requires to pay taxes quarterly are small business owners. You have freelancers, and you also have independent contractors, and they don't have taxes automatically withheld from their paychecks as regular employees do. So estimated taxes may actually be made for any type of taxable income that is not subject to withholding. So this includes earned income, dividend income, rental income, interest income, and capital gains. And so the IRS requires the quarterly estimated taxes to be paid and to be filed by those who have income that is not subject to automatic withholding. Okay, and what happens here is that the taxpayer then files the usual tax paperwork for the full year and pays the balance due on requests reimbursement for an overpayment. So this is really an important element. So when you think about who pays them, think about a sole proprietor, a freelancer, a partner, or an S corporation shareholder. So if you are in those categories and you expect to owe $1,000 or more, you will have to make estimated tax payment. Okay, so $1,000 or more, this is really the threshold. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. Let me give you a few pro tips that relate to estimated tax payments. It's important to understand that you need to make estimated tax payments, especially on a quarterly basis, if you are in a specific category. So the thing here is that it's not about you choosing what category you have to be in. If you happen to be in that category, you have to make estimated tax payments. And so, according to the IRS, you don't have to make estimated tax payments if you are a U.S. citizen or resident alien who owed no taxes for the previous tax year. So the previous full tax year, if you didn't owe anything, then you don't have to make estimated tax payments. And you probably don't have to make to actually pay those estimated taxes unless you have untaxed income. So people who generally may have estimated tax payments obligations are, as I said earlier, 1099 workers. That's really important. W-2 workers who are not withholding enough to cover their tax bill. You have businesses and some investors in certain categories. So when we talk about people who are not having enough withheld, the IRS says you need to pay estimated quarterly taxes if you expect you will owe at least $1,000 in federal income taxes this year, even after accounting for your withholding and refundable credits, such as the earned income tax credit. And your withholding and refundable credits will cover less than 90% of your tax liability for this year, or 100% of your liability last year, whichever is smaller. So the threshold is 110% of your adjusted gross income last year. If your adjusted gross income last year was more than $150,000 or $75,000 for married filing separately. So that's one category. You also have the self-employed. So I think, as I said before, freelancers, contractors, YouTube creators, and people with side gigs, Uber drivers, whatever. Those people who expect to owe more than $1,000 in taxes, they are prime candidates for estimated quarterly taxes. And so that's because there is no tax automatically withheld on their income. So you also have businesses. So corporations may also need to make estimated income tax payments if they will owe at least $500 for the tax year. And you also have landlords and investors maybe. So people with rental income and investments might need to pay estimated quarterly taxes, even if an employer withhold taxes from their regular paychecks. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about estimated tax payments. Another question that's very important to really keep in mind is that this revolves around the calculation of those estimated tax payments. So most people find it easy to use Form 1040-ES, also known as Estimated Tax for Individuals, to estimate yearly income and calculate their quarterly payments at that time. The form includes an estimated tax worksheet on page 8 that asks you to enter estimated gross income, any deductions and credits you expect to take on your tax return, and any other taxes there may be due. So when we talk about this sheet, Form 1040-ES, you need to understand that you have a lot of schedules that really help you out. And these are kind of good because you are able to see exactly what you could actually owe. And if you are self-employed and you have income other than your employment wages, you may need to actually pay based on income that is not subject to withholding, right? We talk about interest income. We have dividends. We have gains from sales of stock or other assets. We have earnings from a business, and we have alimony that's taxable. And so in terms of figuring out what you owe, remember that you need to come up with a good estimates of the income and deductions you will report on your federal tax return. So you can use actually a tax preparation software to do the calculations for you, or get a copy of the worksheet accompanying the Form 1040-ES that I just showed you, that I just explained to you, and you can work your way through it. Either way, you will need some items so you can plan what your estimated tax payments should be. So you need, for instance, your previous year's return. So use your previous year's federal tax return as a check to make sure you include all the income and deductions you expect to take on your current year's tax return. You should also look at the total tax you paid if you are going to base your estimated tax payments on 100% or 110% of your previous year's taxes. You also need to have your record of any estimated tax payments and withholding you've already made for the year. So you need to take those payments into account when you determine how much tax you still owe. So have your check register and let a pay stub handy to look up the amounts and the dates you paid. So this is kind of important. So when we talk about estimating taxes using Form 1040-ES, remember that you always have the option to consider paying with your refund. Okay, if you think that you will owe money when you file your next year's taxes, one easy way to get a jump up when it comes to paying your bill is to apply your tax refund to your next year's taxes. If you won't have federal income tax withheld from wages, or if you have other income and your withholding will not be enough to cover your tax bill, you probably need to make quarterly estimated tax payments. So having all or part of your overpayment applied to your estimated taxes is a relatively painless way to take care of at least some of what you owe in the coming year. So the thing here is that when we talk about like using Form 1040-ES, I really want to really dwell a little bit on that so we are clear about how the whole thing works, and because you can save a lot of cash using Form 1040-ES. So basically, how do you pay estimated taxes online with Form 1040-ES? So through the Form 1040-ES includes payment vouchers and estimated tax payments sort of schedules. The vouchers are only used when paying taxes with a check or money order. You can still use the form to estimate taxes, but if you typically pay your taxes online, you can pay any estimated taxes due using your online account. And other options for paying your taxes include IRS direct pay, payment by phone or by using EFTPS. There is also an option to pay by credit card, though a convenience fee is added to any taxes you may owe, though. So the IRS even provides the option to pay actually estimated taxes on your mobile device through their IRS to Go mobile app. This is really cool, though. So the question is, are you able to pay estimated taxes without Form 1040-ES? Well, the thing is that Form 1040-ES is only needed for those that pay estimated taxes with a check or money order by mail, and is not required to make an estimated tax payment online. Okay, so this is really what it is, and the option, whether you go online or whether you do things manually, it really depends on your situation. If you're comfortable doing everything online, then go for it, right? If you're not comfortable, you want to do things manually, then you can actually go for the manual option. This is totally up to you, and it's one of those things where, please, whatever you do, make sure that you are paying your taxes within the schedule that the IRS has actually set. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about estimated tax payments, and the big question is, who pays them? Now let's talk about due dates here. So when are estimated tax payments due this year? Okay, so payment due dates change with each tax year, but generally the dates you can count on from the IRS, which you may want to highlight on your calendar, are the 15th of April, June, September, and January. So if you're listening to me right now and you are a freelancer, or you are if you're concerned with this whole conversation about estimated tax payments, you want to remember those dates. We're speaking about what? 15th of April, June, September, and January. Okay. And so it's one of those things where, so when we talk about April 15th, that's for the income earned during the period of January 1st all the way to March 31st. And for June 15th, basically that's for the period of income earned during the period of April 1st to May 31st. And for September 15th, we're speaking about June 1st all the way to August 31st. So you can see that it's always 3 months, right? That's why it's called quarterly tax payments. And for the last part is January 15th. So we're speaking about income earned during the period of September 1st all the way through December 31st. So it's one of those things where you have to really, again, mark your calendar, because otherwise, when you actually file, if you pay your taxes late, it's really a biggie. So the expenses is too high. Okay. And so it's one of those things where you have to see what really works for you. Okay. Now it's one of those things, again, it's all about planning your budget accordingly. So you actually pay, you actually send the tax man your taxes, your money. Now your fair share of taxes on a regular basis. Now some people actually find it a lot easier to make monthly payments as opposed to quarterly payments. You have to understand, for the IRS, it's a whole lot of processing that goes on when you send your taxes. They have to file it, they have to record it, they have to record it, they have to do all kinds of stuff. So if it becomes actually like a monthly thing, it could be a big thing, especially when you have 100 million Americans paying taxes. Okay, so that's why they actually go with a quarterly schedule. For them, it's more manageable that way. Let me give you a winner here when it comes to estimated taxes. And how do you actually calculate quarterly estimated taxes using like a straightforward approach? Now, there's more than one way though. So which method makes more sense for you depends on how confident you are about your projected annual income and tax bill. So first of all, we can go with the estimation based on prior year taxes. So you can actually estimate the amount you will owe for the year, then send 1/4 of that to the IRS. For instance, if you think you will owe 10 grand for 2023, you will send 2,500 each quarter. This may work best for people whose income is pretty much the same throughout the year, or for people who have a great idea of where their income is going to be. So if you have that sort of certainty, then you can go ahead and just send everything every quarter and divide everything by 4, divide the whole amount by 4. So that's option number 1. Option number 2, it's really to estimate your annual tax liability based on what you have already earned during the year. This is often better for people whose income varies. So essentially, you are extrapolating. In other words, you estimate your tax bill at the end of each quarter based on a reasonable expectation of your income and deductions so far this year. And the IRS has a worksheet to help you actually do the math. So this is really cool. And what I want to say here is that either way, you will use IRS Form 1040-ES to show your income estimates and project your tax liability. So IRS Publication 505 has all the rules and details, and good tax software will help you fill out the form and do the math. So it's one of those things where if things become a little complicated for you, it's just better to just take to use software like H&R Block or Task Add or Task Layer or TurboTax, whatever. Okay. Now, if it turns out that you overestimated or underestimated your earnings, sorry about that. So if you overestimated or underestimated your earnings, you can complete another form 1040 ES and refigure your estimated tax for the next quarter. So when you file your annual return, you'll likely need to attach an extra form, IRS Form 2210, to explain why you didn't send equal payments. If you paid too much, you can get a refund or apply the overage as a credit to future payments. Okay, this is really cool. I want to talk to you about how to estimate taxes for an income tax extension. So if you're not someone who normally pays estimated quarterly taxes, but your return isn't quite ready for the IRS by that day, by tax day, it's a great idea to file for an automatic 6-month tax extension by the tax filing deadline. You also want to submit an estimated tax payment along with the extension request. So a tax extension only gives you more time to get your paperwork together, not pay. So submitting the estimated tax can save you the headache of incurring an IRS penalty. Okay, this is kind of cool. So when we talk about penalties when you miss a quarterly payments, well, it really depends on your situation. One thing I want to say here is that it's really important to understand that we are only speaking about the federal part of things. Okay, so because on the state side, you may also incur some penalties and fines there as well. But for the federal, what happens here is that the IRS may apply a penalty when you file your return if you end up owing additional tax, and it can even happen after estimated taxes have been paid. So a penalty may also be imposed if your payment is late. For example, if you determine that your estimated taxes for the year are $4,000 and you want to pay in equal installments, any installment received after the due date may be assessed a penalty, even if you end up with an overpayment for the year. So according to the IRS, penalties can vary but tend to be at least a couple of $100s when you incur one. And one thing I want to say here also is that, if you cannot meet your tax obligations or need options, you can apply for a payment through the IRS. Okay, there are always options. And so one thing I want to say here is that the IRS will charge penalties if you didn't pay enough tax this year, but they can actually give you a break on penalties if you are, let's say, a victim of a casualty, disaster, or other unusual circumstance, or you are at least 62, retired, or become disabled this year or last year, and your underpayment was due to reasonable cause as opposed to willful neglect. Okay. One thing I want to say here is that basically, if you want to actually ask for those payment breaks, you need to actually contact the IRS a little earlier to actually request those, because they do not happen automatically. You're going to have to ask for them. And it's really important to understand that while it can be sometimes, let's say cumbersome to be self-employed or investor or whatever, it's a great idea to understand the ins and outs of paying estimated taxes. So once your ducks are in a row, making sense of when payments are due and then processing them on time creates one less task, so you can keep the focus on scaling your business. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I just spoke to you about what estimated tax payments are and who pays them. So I gave you the overview. I gave you the pro tips, as few pro tips, the winner, and now the recap. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.